Hello, I'm Lawrence Chard. Welcome to How to Spot a Fake. Today we're looking at a 600-year-old contemporary counterfeit of a hammered gold noble, a British coin with a value of 6 shillings and 8 pence, or a third of a pound, also equal to half a mark, which was a common unit of account in much of continental Europe. You might think that we're looking at a counterfeit of a 600-year-old gold coin. But in fact, that's true, but also the counterfeit itself is almost certainly about 600 years old. This is a really fascinating coin to work on. At first glance, it looks like a normal gold noble of Henry VI. But hammered coins like this are quite difficult to work with and catalogue. There's nothing obvious to me about this coin which spells fake. It looks like I would expect a Henry VI gold noble to look. There are, however, at least a dozen different types of genuine original. Then there are smaller variations of them, and there are also some Flemish copies. All these types look very similar at a casual glance, but they can be differentiated by small details of design. It is when one starts to work out which type it is that things get interesting. We could not get this coin to fit the description of any of the known types. Often the first job would be to try and read the legends or inscriptions on the coin. And as these were in medieval fonts, this is not simple and straightforward unless you are working with them frequently. And the normal legend is Henrik VI for 6, Gra, Rex, Anglo, Frank, DNS, Hib. This coin doesn't read correctly. Instead of Henrik, it's got HENBT, and then Frank isn't spelled FRANC, it's FRTC or RRTC. It's slightly difficult to tell. But obviously there is something wrong with or unusual with the obverse legend. Let's take a closer look. There are 4 fleurs-de-lis in the top left quarter of the shield, and there should normally be 3, so that's an interesting feature. There are also 2 rings or lines, I'm knocking the coin now, of chainmail around the king's neck, and normally there should be 3. So again, that's another pointer that this coin isn't quite a standard coin type. On the reverse, there's a letter H in the middle of a royal cross, and that's within a circle of 8 tressiers with crowned lions in the 4 angles. The inscription running around the coin here reads, or should read, IHC, which is an acronym for Jesus, aut transiens per medium illur ibat. An anomaly with this coin is that the 4 leopards, and you can see them there, have only got 3 legs, and where the 4th leg would have been, the engraver has actually misinterpreted it and misunderstood that it was a leg, and made it into a strange kind of disjointed blob. So that's obviously something that's not quite right. The inscription is slightly blundered on the reverse as well, particularly in the word transiens. The 2 S's are actually the wrong way round on the fake. They're both mirrored, so possibly the engraver was illiterate. And the other error there is the word Illoru has been changed into Illur, ILLUR, instead of ILLORU. So there are some small but significant differences there. Thinking about the value of this coin, well, right now the melt value or scrap value would be just under £200. But the coin's not actually full weight, and it would be about £230 if it was a full weight. The correct weight for a normal coin of this type is about 128 grains, which we tend not to use anymore these days, or about 7 grams, and this one weighs about 89 grains or 5.77 grams, so it's clearly quite a lot underweight. And this is probably the most obvious clue anybody would have when they were looking at this coin for the first time. Around the time this went into our Black Museum, and this is actually about 8 years ago, we also had a genuine Henry VI gold noble, which we sold for £750, and that coin would probably be worth now about £5,000. Unfortunately, we don't have a genuine one to show you in comparison in stock right now. At the time though, we also had a contemporary Flemish copy for about £500, and that also is probably worth now about £2,000 to £3,000. And the reason there were Flemish copies is, I think people over in the Low Countries or the Netherlands thought, oh, that's a nice coin the English have produced, we'll make one like it and we'll use it. But theirs are distinguishable because they've got their own design features which are just slightly different from the standard official issues. The value of our counterfeit, I don't really know. Probably more than we sold a genuine original one for at the time, and some contemporary counterfeits are so interesting for collectors that they are worth more than genuine originals. We used our expensive X-ray diffraction machine to test the alloy of this coin, and the average reading for its gold content was 962 parts per thousand, which is somewhere about right. There was also a germanium content of 27 parts per thousand. That's not something we see in coin alloys very often at all. Silver content of 18 parts per thousand, and quite a low copper content at about 1.5 parts per thousand. Again, it would have been useful to have a genuine one handy, but we don't have one in stock at the moment. It really is fascinating about the germanium content there, and I don't know where that would have come from, probably from the source of the gold or silver content in the coin. What we can't tell with this coin is who would have made this forgery and where. Bear in mind that the penalty for forgery in those days usually involved having a body part removed, and that was typically the head, so it was unlikely to be done as a one-man hobby business, and if you did this, it was a great personal risk. But at the time, the York and Lancaster houses were at war, the War of the Roses, for much of the time, so it could have been issued by one of the warring factions to raise money for their armies, so it could have been a semi-official copy. And the story of this fake could actually be far more interesting than that for a genuine coin, but we will probably never ever discover it. So, the next time you're shown a Henry VI gold noble, we hope you'll remember this video and you'll find it useful and interesting. If you enjoyed our video, please like it and subscribe, and we'll be very happy for you to leave comments for us below.